Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Ali's Travel Diaries. Today we are going to talk about one of the most renowned travelers and explorers in history, Marco Polo. So let's get started. Marco Polo, the legendary Venetian merchant and explorer whose tales of his journeys through Asia along the ancient Silk Road captivated readers in 13th century Europe and inspired generations of explorers. Born in Venice, Italy on September 1st, 1250, Polo's thirst for adventure and his meticulous record keeping made him one of the most influential travelers of all time. In this video, we will delve into the life, adventures, and lasting impact of Marco Polo. So join me on this journey through time as we explore the incredible story of Marco Polo, early life and background. Marco Polo was born into a wealthy merchant family in Venice, a city that was renowned for its maritime trade and cultural exchange. During the Middle Ages, Venice's strategic location in the Mediterranean Sea made it a hub for merchants and travelers from across Europe and the Middle East. From an early age, Polo was fascinated by stories of distant lands and the exotic goods that could be found there. His father, Niccolo Polo, was a successful merchant who had traveled extensively throughout the Mediterranean, North Africa, and the Middle East. It was through his father that young Marco developed his passion for exploration and trade. When Marco was just 17 years old, his father and uncle, Mafio Polo, decided to embark on a trading expedition to the Far East. They had heard rumors of immense wealth and opportunities in the eastern markets, and they invited Marco to accompany them on their journey. Little did they know that this trip would change Marco's life forever. Journey to Asia. The Polo family's journey to Asia was a long and perilous one. They traveled overland through Central Asia, braving harsh weather conditions and encountering various cultures and languages along the way. After several years of arduous travel, they finally reached the court of Kublai Khan, the Mongol ruler of China, in 1275. At the court of Kublai Khan, Marco Polo served as a diplomat, merchant, and explorer, traveling extensively. Throughout China and other parts of Asia, including India, Persia, and Arabia, he witnessed firsthand the grandeur of the Mongol Empire and the diverse cultures that existed throughout Asia. Polo learned about Chinese customs, religion, and technology, and he was impressed by the sophistication and innovation of Asian society's service. Under Kublai Khan, during his time in the service of Kublai Khan, Marco Polo undertook many important missions for the Mongol Emperor. One of his notable assignments was to deliver a letter from Kublai Khan to the Pope in 1279. This mission was a rare instance of diplomatic contact between the Christian world and the Mongol Empire. Polo also served as a military advisor, assisting the Mongols in their campaigns against their rivals. He participated in battles and sieges, gaining first-hand experience of Mongol military tactics and warfare, in addition to his diplomatic and military duties. Marco Polo traveled extensively throughout Asia, collecting information about trade routes, resources, and potential allies. He was particularly interested in expanding trade between Asia and Europe, and he encouraged the exchange of goods and ideas between the two regions. The travels of Marco Polo in 1295, after serving Kublai Khan for 17 years, Marco Polo decided to return to Venice. He left China with a small group of companions and traveled back to Italy through Central Asia and the Middle East. Upon his arrival in Venice, Marco Polo began to recount his incredible adventures to anyone who would listen. His stories were filled with tales of exotic lands, amazing people, and unbelievable riches, and they quickly captured the imagination of the Venetian public. Realizing the potential for his stories, Polo decided to commit them to writing. With the help of a Venetian writer named Rustichello da Pisa, Polo dictated his experiences, creating a detailed account of his travels that would become known as the Travels of Marco Polo. The Travels of Marco Polo became an instant success in Europe, where readers were eager to learn more about the mysterious East. The book was translated into several European languages, and it inspired a surge of interest in exploration and trade. Polo's descriptions of the Mongol Empire, China, and other parts of Asia were some of the first detailed accounts to reach Europe, and they introduced Europeans to a world that was vastly different from their own. Influence on European exploration. Marco Polo's influence on European exploration cannot be overstated. His book sparked a desire in Europeans to discover new trade routes to Asia and to explore the world beyond their own borders. Polo's descriptions of the wealth and luxury of the East inspired many European merchants and rulers to seek out new trading opportunities. His account of the Mongol Empire also helped to dispel some of the myths and misconceptions that Europeans had about Asia and the people who lived there. Polo presented a more accurate and nuanced portrayal of Asian cultures, and he challenged the stereotypes that had been perpetuated by earlier travelers' later life after returning. To Venice, Marco Polo lived a more modest life. He married and had several children, and he continued to trade and travel throughout the Mediterranean, despite his decision to settle down. Polo remained interested in exploration, and he continued to correspond with explorers and traders who ventured beyond European waters. Death and legacy. Marco Polo died in Venice on January 8, 1324. The exact cause of his death is unknown, but he was likely ill for some time before passing away. He was buried in the church of San Lorenzo in Venice, and his grave can still be visited today. Marco Polo's legacy as an explorer and writer has endured for centuries. His book, The Travels of Marco Polo, is considered one of the most important texts of the medieval period, and it has been studied and analyzed by scholars for generations. Polo's contributions to geography, ethnology, and the history of exploration are immeasurable. He helped to open up the world to Europeans, and he inspired countless adventurers to follow in his footsteps. Marco Polo's book provided Europeans with their first detailed account of China and other parts of Asia, including information about its geography, culture, and customs. Before Polo's travels, Europeans had limited knowledge of Asia, and much of what they knew was based on rumors, myths, and stereotypes. Polo's first-hand descriptions helped to dispel these myths and provide a more accurate understanding of the region. He described the vast size of China, its bustling cities, its natural wonders, and its diverse population. He also provided information about the geography of other parts of Asia, such as India, Persia, and Arabia. His descriptions were so vivid and precise that they inspired future explorers to seek out these lands for themselves. Marco Polo's travels and his book played a role in stimulating European interest in establishing trade routes and exploring new lands. Before Polo's time, trade between Europe and Asia was limited and expensive due to the lack of direct trade routes. Polo's descriptions of the wealth and luxury goods available in Asia sparked the interest of European merchants who were eager to tap into these markets. His book helped to promote the idea of exploration and discovery, and it inspired many Europeans to venture beyond their own borders in search of new trade routes and resources. Although Marco Polo himself was not directly involved in cultural exchange, his book facilitated the exchange of ideas and customs between Europe and Asia. Polo's descriptions of Asian cultures, including their art, architecture, religion, and customs, introduced Europeans to a world that was vastly different from their own. This exposure sparked curiosity and interest in Asian cultures, and it helped to break down some of the stereotypes and misconceptions that Europeans had about the East. While Polo was not an ambassador or diplomat, his book served as a cultural ambassador of sorts, introducing Europeans to the richness and diversity of Asian civilizations. Marco Polo's accounts inspired later explorers, including Christopher Columbus, who carried a copy of the travels of Marco Polo on his voyages. Polo's descriptions of Asia and his tales of adventure and discovery influenced many European explorers who followed in his footsteps. His book provided them with valuable information about trade routes, resources, and potential allies. Polo's own sense of wonder and enthusiasm for exploration were contagious, and his stories sparked the imaginations of future adventurers. And there you have it, a glimpse into the extraordinary life and legacy of Marco Polo, the legendary Venetian merchant and explorer whose tales of adventure and discovery continue to captivate us today. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay tuned for more exciting historical tales, don't forget to hit that like button. Your support means the world to me and keeps me motivated to bring you more engaging content. So thank you for watching. Until next time, happy exploring.